In this lesson, we'll talk about using ZRemesher to recreate topology on our geometry in ZBrush. So this is 07 Begin. It's just a series of torsos that we can use here. And I've turned on the poly frame on this so you can see the current topology. So as with any project in ZBrush, a lot of times you're going to want to recreate the base topology of whatever geometry it is that you're working on. In this case, we want to create new topology for our torso here. We want it to be able to reflect the shapes that we've sculpted in, but we also want it to be, nice and clean and organized, and we want to have some control over that. Now we could do it manually where we come in and place each particular point. That's really time consuming a lot of times. And we want kind of a faster, solution to doing this. So in the past, we've used ZRemesher. Here in ZBrush 4R6, it's called ZRemesher, located in the geometry subpalette, in the tool palette. And so let's take a look here. We'll open this up and let's just go ahead and activate this on this first subtool here without changing anything. So the target polygon count is set to 15. The adaptive button is on and the adaptive slider is set to 50. So some of these settings, if you've used ZRemesher, will be familiar to you. We'll go ahead and leave the defaults and just see how quickly and really nicely the topology is created. So we'll go ahead and hit ZRemesher. It's going to happen really quickly. And so you can see how nicely it follows along with the topology, or with the shapes that we have here, how nicely the topology follows along and reflects those shapes. It's really good at kind of recreating those curves. Now one thing you'll notice though is it isn't symmetrical, especially as we get down here. You can see there's some odd geometry flowing. So oftentimes we want our mesh to be symmetrical. So to do that, all we really have to do is turn on symmetry. So activate symmetry and then go ahead and hit that ZRemesher button again. And now it's doing the same thing, except it's perfectly symmetrical. Now, depending on how you want to do your symmetry, there are two different ways to do symmetry using the ZRemesher. To do the alternate, all you have to do is hold down Alt as you click on ZRemesher, and that'll use the alternate method, which you can see here down by the belly button. It's really apparent. So depending on the model that you have, you may get results that aren't really optimized or ideal for you along that center line. You can use the alternate method if you'd like to. All right, so let's take a look at the poly count for this. So looking at this example, it's around 14,240. So it's gotten pretty close to our target polygon count. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. And for this one, let's turn off adaptive. Okay, let's go ahead and set our poly count, and let's just actually set this one to 10. So we're going to try to get around 10,000 polygons. We've turned off adaptive. So what adaptive will do is it'll look in areas that need more polygons, that it thinks need more polygons to get the shape correctly sort of interpreted. If adaptive's off, it's not going to do that. It's not going to add more geometry in certain areas that needs it. So let's go ahead and run this and see what it looks like. I'll go ahead and turn on symmetry on this, and let's run it. All right, so this is what it looks like without adaptive turned on. Let's take a look at the poly count, 9,374 polygons, so right around our polygon target. Looking good. So let's go ahead and do the next one. So for this one, we will turn on adaptive, and let's go ahead and set this to 0. Let's actually set it to 50. So we'll do something similar to what we did with the first one, except our polygon count will be a little bit lower. So we'll set that to 10. Adaptive is turned on with an adaptive size of 50. Let's go ahead and do that. And I don't know if I had symmetry on. No, I didn't. So we'll make sure that we turn symmetry on. Okay, and you can see the difference here versus that one. Pretty subtle. If we take a look at the poly count, 9,300 for the first one. This one is sitting at about 10,326. So it's just above our target polygon limit because we had a little bit of that adaptive size put in there. So it's given kind of half weight to that adaptive size. That means that it's sacrificed a little bit of our target count in order to get the shapes reflected very well. So if we set this adaptive slider all the way up to 100, then however it needs to come in and add those polygons in here, I'll do it on this one actually. However it needs to add those polygons in order to get the shape and get a better quality retopo, it'll do that. So let's go ahead. This is again set to 10,000. I've got the adaptive button turned on, adaptive sliders set all the way over to the right. Let's go ahead and hit ZRemesher, and I probably didn't turn on symmetry again. No, I didn't. So let's be consistent. I'll turn on symmetry. Happens so fast, it's really easy to go back and fix that. So here you're getting something where you get a lot of the detail in here. Now this model isn't super detailed, but you kind of get the idea. This one actually should be the highest. Yeah, it's about 13,500 polygons. So it's overshot our target count. That's because we had that adaptive set so high that it's gone in some of these areas, and you can kind of see the difference here and here. You can kind of see some of the differences. You look kind of around under here, get more polygons going on, coming in and trying to define these curved areas. Okay, so we've gone from 9,300, 10,300 up to 13,500. So you can tweak your settings, but really any of these will work great as far as the edge flow goes for our new topology. So even with just the default settings, works really, really nicely and also very quickly too. But you can change your target count. Obviously, you can also change the target count here. So if you wanted really quickly just say, okay, I want half the number of polygons, I want the same number, I want double, you can click these buttons instead of using a target count. And then you can also choose to either use adaptive density or not.